Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 11th annual RTR, and this year we have an online RTR. I'm Sue Ann Carlson. I'm the Executive Director of Homes on Wheels Alliance, otherwise known as HOWA, H-O-W-A, our acronym, and we are the host this year of the RTRs. Today, our topic is boondocking. We're camping. I'm a day behind. Our topic today is work camping opportunities. And our speakers today are Linda Mastromonaco and Brian Gifford. Brian is the treasurer of our board of trustees, and he joins us today in Arizona. That's where his camp is. Brian's been on the road for 11 years, and his rig is a Class C RV. Linda Mastromonaco is in Florida, and her website and YouTube channel is Serene and Simple Life. And I would highly encourage you to go visit those. Check out the description below, and you'll find the links there to go and visit Linda and her content there. Very good stuff. Linda is currently on the road in an SUV, and she's been on the road for a total of 2.5 years. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over for Brian for the first 15 minutes, and then Linda for the second 15 minutes, and then we'll go into the question and answers. So we'll see you in about 25 minutes, and Brian, the floor is yours.
Excellent. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Sue Ann. And I was surprised when I heard I was supposed to be talking about boondocking today. We're talking about work camping. I'm just joking. But no, thank you for the wonderful introduction. It is a pleasure to present at the 2021 virtual RTR this year. And today what we'll be talking about is work camping opportunities. And so with that, it's living and working in the great outdoors, and it's one of my favorite things to do. But first, before we get into too much of the work camping, I want to share with you a little bit about myself. So my story, I was living in Denver, Colorado, working for a company. It was a fine job, but I'd been there for 7 years, and I was kind of feeling a little bored with life, a little like in the doldrums. So I decided that I wanted to change a pace. I wanted to have some new experiences, desired for open the road and so forth. So I bought a 1977 23-foot Class C motorhome, and I hit the road. That was January 2010. I've been on the road 11 years now, ever since then, in the same motorhome, and I still love it. It's my little house on wheels, and I cannot imagine a different lifestyle at this point. To make that all happen, I did need to make a budget and live within my means. That is very, very important. We're going to have another topic about this later on this week about budgeting, but I just want to put my input on that. Having a cushion of savings is going to help tremendously. Living paycheck to paycheck is extremely difficult. And so if you have a little bit of that cushion, it helps in so many ways. And that will actually, why we're talking about work camping today, is that's the way that you're going to be able to build that savings, and that a little bit of that cushion is by living within your means and building that budget. So just a little other thing about myself, I do not have a remote job. I don't have an internet job. I don't have other sources of income. Work camping is all I do. It's what I do, and it's what I've been doing for 11 years. And it is very sustainable doing this. You might have to do a little homework and so forth, but in the end, it's very, very doable by using work camping to your advantage. So, all right. So some people may be wondering, what is work camping? This is kind of a little definition, and I kind of looked it up and also kind of made it my own. But it is short-term seasonal positions, both part-time and full-time, that are done in exchange for wages and non-monetary compensation. You're working and you're camping. Like that is the best thing for us nomads out there. We love to be out in the outdoors. We love to be out on the road, and you're getting paid to do this. Um, and the other thing I always like to talk to people about is work camping is for people of all ages. I've worked with people that are in their late teens, right out of high school. I've also worked with people in their 80s. These positions do not have age limits. So just kind of keep that in mind. It is a wonderful, wonderful experience. So now let's touch on some of the benefits I feel to work camping. So there are tons of reasons why you may want to work camp. These are the ones that just came to my mind, but everyone has their own reasons for doing this kind of stuff. It's a very, very unique experience. You can get experience in jobs that you had never done before. You can learn a new skill, and so using those unique experiences can really help out with that. You will meet new people, whether that's coworkers or it could also be, locals in the community. You will meet customers. There's just so many connections that you can make while you're work camping that it's just such a wonderful thing to do. Become part of a local community, go to the library, go to the restaurants nearby if there are any, depends on your location. But there are just so many ways that you can get involved in the local community that's also a really big benefit of work camping. Explore new areas of the country. I love to backpack. I love to hike. And so I go to these beautiful places, work, and then I get to go play in those beautiful areas. And that is one of my favorite things to do. Adds to an active lifestyle. For a lot of my jobs, I'm walking around a lot. I'm, being active at my job. And so it just really kind of keeps all that energy within you. And so that's one of my favorite things about it. You earn money. I mean, that's huge. That's how we stay on the road. It goes back into the budgeting and savings thing. This is how you can meet those goals is you can work in the summer. You tend to spend less money when you're working because you aren't driving around, you're saving on gas money, things like that. It can be very, very helpful. Typically, a lot of times they offer free or discounted sites. So oftentimes you will have a free campsite to go, or at least they'll give you a discount on it. Sometimes you can do it in a exchange for volunteering, like at some of the state parks and so forth. So that's another option. And sometimes they even offer employee housing. These are more the ski resorts and things like that, in the resorts, summer resorts as well. But it's employee housing can either be free or for a discounted fee. So those are the things, the benefits of work camping. Now what I would like to go on to are some of the places that I personally have worked. So I started working for CLM Services. They're a concessionaire of the National Forest campgrounds. They're in Oregon, Washington, California, and Colorado, to my knowledge. They might be in one or two other states, I don't recall. But it is a campground host job, and I love it. My office is the great outdoors. It is one of the most wonderful things ever. It's usually a 3 to 5 month commitment, and so you kind of have to know that going into it. There are positions for both singles and couples, so it doesn't really matter if you're a solo traveler or if you're traveling with another person, that's fine. Usually they include some sort of hookups, not always full hookups. I've been at places where I just had water or water and sewer. And so it really just depends what your needs are. I have solar panels, so I'm not too worried about the electricity. And so by that, I usually have a better chance of getting some of those more remote jobs, which is what I prefer. And they're less sought after because a lot of people want their satellite dishes, their full electricity, things like that. If you are able not to do that, then there are plentiful of jobs out there that you can take advantage of. Let's see. You can also do some of these, as I had mentioned before, for volunteering in exchange for a free site. These are typically less hours, so it might be 20 hours a week, whereas I'm working 30, 40 hours a week at my campground. The volunteer ones are usually shorter commitment. They're a month. So if your main goal is to travel around more, then you might want to look at some of those volunteering opportunities in exchange for a free site. I need to get paid. That's what I do for work. And so I want the 3 to 5 month commitment for myself. All right, so next one I'm going to talk about is another concessionaire. I worked for Glacier Bay National Park, not while I've been on the road, but in, back when I was traveling without a motorhome. And so you can work in these national parks. It's a great experience. It's one of my favorite things I've ever done. It was back in 2000 and 2001. And you can work in a national park. You get employee housing. It's either free or they, give some, it's either free or you pay a little bit for it. It comes out of your paycheck. I don't recall, but it is a really cool opportunity. Another unique thing that I've done is I worked for Cirque du Soleil. That was done through a temp agency. And it was a cool experience because, I mean, go figure, I live on the road. I would, of course, have to work for the circus, and it was just such a unique experience. You work with wonderful people from all walks of life, and usually people that are more, they have a reason for wanting to work for Cirque du Soleil. Either they're artists, musicians, or they're just fascinated by the arts of some sort. But it was such a wonderful experience, and I could not imagine a better experience to have. So that was done through a temp agency. And so sometimes you just have to seek these things out. So it's another option for you guys. Ski resorts, if you have the ability to live in colder climates, whether you have a motorhome or trailer or van that can handle the cold weather, that is definitely an option. Oftentimes they have employee housing at the ski resort, so that's another option. Again, I usually take my winters off because I want to go travel the Southwest and stay warm. But that is another option. If you are looking for work, then they are always hiring. And the final thing on this place that I've worked, WOOFing. It's there's two different names for it. It's the acronym stands for several different things: a Worldwide Organization of Organic Farms, or Willing Workers on Organic Farms. Basically, you are volunteering your time in exchange for knowledge, room, and board. Typically, you work 20, 25 hours a week, but you're working on a small farm. But it's a wonderful experience. You meet amazing people. The one thing I will say about that is only commit to 2 weeks at first, and then add on as you will, because you may not share the same values as the people that you're working for. And you want to make sure it's a good fit if you're going to stay longer. But it's a great way to bounce around the country too, because you can just bounce from organic farm to organic farm. So really cool opportunity. So, all right, so with that, I'm going to transition into other work options. These are ones that I haven't necessarily done myself, but I've heard a lot about. And so it's something that, you can do your own due diligence and look for these kind of jobs. The first one on the list is Amazon Camper Force. They always hire people for the holidays, usually I think October, November, December, maybe even in September. It's a great thing to get a decent amount of money in a short amount of time. It's usually $15 an hour, I think, is a starting rate. They pay for a campsite, or they pay up to $550, I think is last I heard, for a campsite for you. And so that's a great opportunity. It is hard work. It's long hours, hard work, but it's a short commitment time. It's 2 months, 1 or 2 months. So that's something to definitely consider for yourself. The beet harvest. Everybody's heard about the beet harvest. Another great way to make a lot of money in just a 2 or 3 week period of time. But it is hard work. It's a very short amount of time, but you're on your feet and you're doing 12-hour shifts, usually 6 or 7 days a week, I believe. But again, and that's usually done in Minnesota, North and South Dakota. So if you are interested in those kind of things, it's a great opportunity. Gate guard is usually for couples. It's usually, what I've heard, is the ones down in Texas at the oil fields and stuff. But you're basically just you're at an oil pump and you are just kind of letting trucks in and out. But again, it's another option for you. The other ones, we have pumpkin patch, the Christmas trees and firework booths. Again, you can find out more information online about those, but they are options out there. RV transporter, another one. Summer camps. All across the country, there are summer camps that are going in throughout the summer. So if you like working with kids, then that's a great way to do it. So it might be an opportunity for you. And the last thing on this list, caretaking. This is more of an exchange. You are exchanging your, basically you are house sitting in exchange for a free place to stay. A friend of mine, she was writing a book, and this was a great opportunity for her in the winter months that she would go and caretake, and then she'd have this house to herself, and then she would write her book. So again, you can kind of work with that and see what works with you. So the next slide I'm going to talk to you about is how to find working camping jobs. Of course, I need to start with the Big Tent Show in Quartzsite, Arizona. It's a great way to see dozens of companies hiring for work camping up positions. You will get to talk with them directly, turn in applications. Sometimes you can even get an interview right there on the spot. Their goal is to have all those positions filled by the end of the Big Tent Show. So that is a great opportunity for you guys. Now, after that, we have temp agencies. If you're in a town or a city, it's a great way just to get some quick gigs, some interesting gigs too. Like you never know what kind of jobs are going to be offered at those temp agencies. So it's a really good opportunity for you to maybe explore different avenues and different things that you might want to test out. Some of the websites I recommend: Coolworks, ZipRecruiter, Work Camper News, Wolf USA, Caretaker Gazette. Those are just a few of the ones I've come across. So there are tons more, lots of information online about the different opportunities and the best way to go about looking for them. I do recommend calling businesses directly. You have to fill out an online application for most things anymore, but follow up with a phone call or an in-person interview, or even just stop by and just to say hi, or call them on the phone, because a lot of those online applications do get lost. Not lost, but it's hard to pick out your application from thousands of them. So make that call. It's always a good idea. And it's never too late to apply. Every year I've worked for working as a campground host, every year we seem like we're short-staffed in the middle of the summer. People just, some people don't make it to the end of the season. And so they're always looking for people. So it's never too late to try to apply for those jobs. So middle of the summer, why not give it a try? Just go for it. All right. So my final thoughts on this subject is be honest about your needs. If you absolutely need internet, tell the employer about this. But take it as another way, maybe it's a good time to disconnect and see how you fare. Do you need hookups? Be honest with yourself and your employer. But if you do manage without the full hookups, you might find the positions are plentiful and in beautiful remote areas. So there's so many different opportunities out there, and it's a perfect pairing of working and camping. We're getting paid to do these fun things. So keep that in mind. And the final thing, do what you love and what you want to learn. This is your opportunity to do these kind of things. So, and with that wraps up my part of the presentation. And I would like to introduce you to our next speaker, Linda. She has some brilliant insights and experiences to share with all of you guys. So Linda, I'm gonna have you jump on.
Hey everyone, so excited to be here today. That was excellent, Brian. So I'm going to today share with you what I call the best of both worlds. And that has to do with traveling, sightseeing, working and playing all at the same time. The best of both worlds, something that you can have. I'm going to give you a synopsis of my work journey so that hopefully you can glean some knowledge and tips from what I have done and how it all came to fruition. I feel like if I guide you in a timeline, you can start to place yourself maybe in your own situation for moving forward with work. And I'm going to paint a little picture. Like Sue Ann said in the introduction, which I thank you so much for that, Sue Ann, and sharing what I'm really heartfelt about, the serene and simple life. I appreciate that. But honored to be here. January 2019, I went to the big tent. Now, of those of you, I'm sure many of you know, Bob speaks about that in past RTRs all the time. Go to the big tent, go to the big tent. So that's what I did. I going to paint this little picture. I had my resume in hand. I had no idea what to expect. It was very, very crowded. I went there the first day. Per Bob's recommendation, just get going. And I was taking it all in. I was excited and overwhelmed. I picked up a lot of business cards and I wrote notes. Anybody I talked to, I put their name on the back. I just took it all in. In the back of my mind, I thought a camp host, but I wanted to be open to other ideas. Amazon, J.C. Penney's was there. I don't even know if they're open anymore, but you get the idea. Is I just took it all in. Then I knew that I had to go back, and after debriefing the first day, I had to go back when it was a little bit more quiet, like 2-3 days later. People I had already talked to, I had a lot of notes, and I started to zero in on what I was interested in and what would work for me. I do have notes here to keep on track, so that's why I look down on occasion. So, you know, we've all heard first impressions is really, really important. So even the first day, I had no idea who I was going to meet, what VIPs I would meet. So I dressed up a little bit, I put my makeup on, and I went out and just had a good time with it. So when I came back a second time, I said, oh, is Mary here? Like if it was a job that I might be interested in. And so I was showing my true interest in particular jobs. Well, the outcome was that I did get a job. It took about a week. My first job was a camp host position with California Land Management, as Brian has previously mentioned. And I worked in the Snoqualmie National Forest at a campground, very beautiful site. And I am going to share with you, so that I don't belabor all of this, that I have my whole series of my camp host experience on my channel. I just have to share that with you so that you'll be like, what did she do? What kind of work did she have to do? That's all covered, and don't have enough time to go through that all now. I took the job, but tip number one here is I had a backup plan. You know, sometimes your intuition, your gut just tells you need to do something. And I was like, well, why on earth would I even need a backup plan? I'm going to be content in Washington. Everything's going to be really nice, and I don't need a backup plan. Well, I decided that I better just have one, just in case. Just if the workload was too much, if I physically couldn't take care of it. I didn't like the weather, which in Washington, that's really unheard of in May, but I had this backup. Well, lo and behold, those of you who have followed me and know this already too, is I had an infestation of mice. Now, back then, a side note here, I was in a Acura sedan. I lived in an Acura for 14 months. Now I'm in the SUV, as Sue Ann mentioned. Well, I had the mice, and I'm one that like pull up my bootstraps. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fight through this. I'm going to get rid of these mice. I did get rid of them, but everyone was having problems. It was like an unforeseen time of year with the mice. They had never experienced like this before. And I said, you know what? I've had enough. I cannot take dealing with the mice situation. I felt like I was being overrun by them. And so I called up my backup plan. My backup plan was Ruby's Inn General Store in Utah, right outside of Bryce Canyon National Park, one of the most beautiful places in the country. I mean, there are several, but that's tops on the list. I said, hey, this is what's happening. and they remembered me and they said, "Oh, Linda, we'd love to have you," just as Brian spoke. This is middle of the season now. We're talking the beginning of July. I said, "Well, when do I," and she said, "Take your time driving here. We'll take you whenever you get here." Woo, what a gift. Back to the best of both worlds. I took off down the road, 2 weeks, traveling, sightseeing, taking photographs. Some of you know I do also have an online business, and I use photographs on the backgrounds of sayings, say it, display it. Very, very cool. I'm taking my time. I'm regrouping, and I got to Ruby's. Ruby's Inn was a cashier job. Fantastic. I have lots of cashier experience, but you don't need the experience either. And I got to speak with people from all over the world. I mean, we're talking Italy, Australia, everywhere. What a very cool job. So I ended that season and I said, well, that's the end of that. I had, and I went on my merry way as a nomad, doing my online gigs. And then now it's February 2020. And I said, goodness gracious, maybe I'm having a short-term goal, which, not just a buffer of money, but eventually I would like to get a little piece of land and have a cabin. So I'm working towards that goal now, February 2020. Right before that, at the RTR, I was doing some networking, which I think is also a very good thing to do when you're looking for a job. Ask other people, where have you worked? What have you done? And can I use your name? And call people up, and say, hey, Stephanie recommended that she loved working for you and was wondering if you're going to be hiring this season. So that would be another tip. Also, while you're looking at what you want to do, I'm going to bunny trail here, is make a pros and cons list. Like Brian had mentioned, do you need internet? Do you need solar? Do you need to be in a sunny place? Follow your pros and cons. Do you not want to lift heavy things? How's your health? Whatever the case may be, do your pros and cons. So now it's January 2020. I found that there was a girl who had actually exchanged for 20 hours a week in the office at North American RV Park in Montana now, a new state. This was planned here. Now I've been in Washington, Utah, now Montana. She got a site. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really need the money. I'm going to be taking Social Security. I mean, I need the money, but I don't. I'm getting myself a little ahead of myself. But I decided that that's what I would do. Well, when the world went bonkers, I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? The RV park might not even open. All right, I'm going to fall back on retail. And I called up Walmart. Now, Brian and I discussed things earlier, and he thought this was quite interesting too, is I got in the door at Walmart and I worked there while the RV park, I was still not sure, but it was a half an hour away. I became a cashier at Walmart. So that was from May 2020 till end of August, mid-September 2020, just recently. Where am I going to stay? I don't want to be at the RV park because I'm not working there. I asked HR, hey, do you think it would be okay if I stayed in your parking lot? I'm doing this full time as a nomad. I'm traveling the country. The HR lady, she loved the idea. She brought it up into, very discreetly with security. And so every night I would leave Walmart. Sometimes I worked 10 hours, 10 hours a day. I always did 8, worked 10 hours a day from 8 to 7 while it was still hot outside. I just went through those extra couple hours and would go out to my SUV, which I call Happy Haven, and I enjoyed myself. And then on the days off, I visited Glacier National Park and different local parks, and I would even hang out at a community college if I didn't feel like going anywhere. So again, the best of both worlds. Worked at Walmart. The RV thing never did come to fruition. And I got to thinking, me personally, I'm not real keen about just having a place to stay and having to put in work without getting paid. So it was very, very wonderful. And I enjoyed myself. Now, they say never say never. I thought, you know what? I don't ever want to go back to Walmart again. It's just something that I want other experiences. Well, with the state of the country and everything going on, lo and behold, where do you think I am right now? I'm back at Walmart.
Linda, I need to interrupt
Okay.
and let you know that you're about 10 minutes into your talk, and to let our viewers know that now is the time to ask your questions of Brian and Linda. And the way that you do that is you use the text chat on YouTube. Now, chances are very good you're not seeing the text chat. In order to see it, please refresh your screen. On your browser, that is typically a round arrow up in the left corner, or it could actually be part of the bar that you type in the address in. So look for that round arrow, click it, and the text chat should come up. We look forward to your questions for Brian and Linda. Thank you for letting me interrupt you, Linda. Please continue.
Okay. All right. So I'm now in the system with Walmart. I'm back here working for the rest of my short-term goal. I did the same thing with our HR, although I have a wonderful friend who has allowed me to stay on her property. Met her on my channel. It was fantastic. And so I'm I'm going through it. And I know that I can do a job that I particularly like, that I particularly don't like, if I know it's only going to be for a short period. And I decided to make it fun. Instead of just doing cashiering, I'm now doing online grocery picking. So you see where this is going. It's not just Amazon for online grocery and stuff. Walmart's competing with them in a big way. And that's what I'm doing. I'm pretty excited about that. I made it fun. Remember the beginning word, fun. And a couple personal things. I am 62. I started Social Security back the beginning of my story about getting the job at North American RV Park, where I commented, I don't need the money. That wasn't true. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to live on Social Security and I'm just going to enjoy Montana. Well, I withdrew. You can do that in the first 12 months and you pay back everything they gave you. So I paid back 4 months worth because I was making over the threshold. That's just a side note. And I also have 6 online presences in addition to jobs. Now, Brian said work camping is all he does, but he thought it would be significant for me to mention too that, you know, I have my online business, Etsy. I'm an Amazon affiliate. I have Teespring and Redbubble, you know, t-shirts, anybody can do that. And I have, of course, my channel. And my biggest recommendation is just to have fun. I have been to stunningly beautiful states, Utah, Washington, Montana. Now I'm in Florida. None of this would have ever happened had I not decided to say yes to working. You know, if you can't get to the big tent, which I don't know if that's happening or not, like Brian said, he gave you a whole list. Get online, network, call people, just search Google, whatever it is you have to do. And lastly, some of the things that Brian has already covered, but why work if you don't really want to? Like, you know, when I became 62, I thought, oh, I'm never going to have to work again. I am so glad that I did not get on that train, because it has helped me with loneliness. I have the freedom. It helps with isolation. I'm out with people and then I can be by myself. Experiences, new places, friendships for life. Some of this Brian's covered. The security, the building of security with your savings or a short-term or a long-term goal. Your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual life will be enhanced by working. Trust me. You feel better when you're working. I'm really a strong advocate of that. And I'm going to leave you with 3 sayings. Why not? I'm a sayings junkie. Fill your life with experiences, not things. Have stories to tell, not stuff to show. Create your own happiness. Today is the day. Woohoo! And nature is cheaper than therapy. One of my favorite jobs in Washington as a camp host. Brian mentioned about backpacking. So with that, guys, I think that's it. You know, just have fun. Never say never, that you're not going to ever work again. And just go for it. Do what you love, you know, be able to love to learn. And you're going to find great great experiences and stories to tell with others. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Linda. And thank you, Brian. So now we're going to bring Linda and Brian back for your questions. And the way this will work is I will go ahead and assign a question to one of you, but if the other one has something to add, please do so. Okay, so this first question is for Brian, and it's from Jerry N. And Jerry asks or says, I decided last minute to find a camp host job. Can I still apply?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
He decided at the last minute, so
Uh-huh.
he's considering right now the last minute.
Oh,
Can
gotcha.
he still apply for a camp host job?
Absolutely. So, like I said, they typically want to try to do all their hiring by the end of January at the end of the Big Tent Show, but you can always apply. So even if you can't get your stuff together right now, that's fine. But do the online application, make a phone call. It can't hurt. So again, it's never too late to apply for those things.
Thank you. Okay, Linda, Living the Life asks, where is the Big Tent in Court site? Is it the RV show?
Yes, it is. It's an RV show combined with food and entertainment, and they bring in vendors from all over the country, sharing their opportunities for you to get a job.
Okay, very good. And Linda mentioned she wasn't sure about the RV show going on in Quartzsite, so I brought it up really quick. And it says on their website, it's January 16th through the 24th this year. And it says 2021 show is a go. So there you go.
Starts tomorrow. Wow.
Yeah, that is tomorrow, isn't it? Saturday.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, Linda, I'm going to put this one to you as well. Can a single woman get a job as a camp host? I hear that many places prefer to hire couples. Are there options for single people to work?
I am so glad you asked that, because I wanted to mention that yes, I am single, and I broke the car barrier with California Land Management. They had never had anybody living in a car, and they said, they put up a canopy for me, and it was fantastic. So absolutely, don't ever take no for an answer. If they like you and they need you, remember, even in the middle of the season, come on down. They are going to look for ways to make it work for you. Just be enthusiastic and shine, and you may get a yes where you thought it was going to be a no.
Very good.
I'd love to add on to that is that there are a lot of campgrounds that can't have couples because it's too small of a campground. All the campgrounds I've worked at have been around 30 sites. That's not enough to justify a couple. So they actually have to have a certain number of solos out there. So absolutely, that's right on.
Thank you. Brian, Looney Nomad asks, do you know of any work camping opportunities that are available over the winter months besides working for Amazon?
The winter months are a little more difficult. They do have campground host positions in the winter months, but they're harder to get to only because there's a lot less places that are open. So I do know some people that worked, I think in the Palm Springs, California area at one of the, it was an RV resort that was associated with one of the hot springs. And he was, basically his job at the RV resort was to hook up people's satellite cable or something like that. Basically just going around and like using a little device to like get their satellite aimed or something like that. I don't remember the exacts of it, but there are those positions. You just have to go to the warmer weather areas. And as I mentioned, there are ski resorts and other lodges that are available. It just depends on if you want to be in the cold. I personally don't. So there are still jobs available in the winter, yes.
It's kind of like follow the tourist industry.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it.
Very good. Okay, this is from Up and Coming. And Linda, this is for you. I am 17 and would like to become a nomad. Are there companies that hire younger people for work camping? Are there age limits on jobs for younger people?
Not that I know of. I worked with some very cool young people. And as Brian mentioned, and it made me smile, I worked with the young people like yourself, all the way up to an 80-year-old lady at Ruby's in General who had been there for 10 years with her husband. He did the bus tour thing and she worked at the jewelry counter. Talk about a go-getter lady, you know? So I'm not specific to you. To me, there's no age barriers. I didn't see it. And that was a beautiful thing to be able to work with young people and elderly people, which I guess I'm getting into that category.
Okay, Brian, Rob's Mob. I watched a video where someone bought items from thrift stores and sold them on eBay. Is this really practical? Sounds like finding a UPS store could be easier since more companies are using mail order now.
I've heard about people doing that as well. That's certainly kind of a side gig you could do. The difficulty I have is that I'm usually in more remote areas. So for me to sell things on eBay would be a logistics nightmare, trying to get to a place that I could send something away. And you kind of have to warehouse those things. So you have to go to a thrift store, get a bunch of stuff. So now you're carrying all this stuff until you sell it. So for me, it wasn't very practical, but I've certainly heard of people doing that. They'll tow a small trailer behind them. They kind of have, it's their garage. And so yeah, people make money doing that. It's not my cup of tea. It's not something I would personally enjoy, but someone who loves thrift storing and antiquing, it can be a really cool option.
I did hear of somebody, actually, when I first became a nomad, that did that, and she bought and sold scarves, like high-end scarves, which take up very little room.
It's true.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
There you go. So think about those kinds of items that are minimal impact on your space.
So not ottomans, obviously.
No ottomans, no. Okay. Linda, Dixie RVer says, thinking out of the box here. Do people ever create their own jobs on the road? Could I start a mobile salon and travel with the nomad community?
I think that's a fantastic idea. There are so many, oh my gosh. I'm just thinking of things right now that I could use. Getting my nails done. You know, it hasn't happened in forever. Getting a hair trim, you know, just trimming the back of my neck. That is fantastic. Yes, yes. Love thinking outside the box. Go for it, girl.
I knew you would love that one, Linda.
Yeah. And Sue Ann, we've both known people that have done that, you know, kind of for donation. People have done that at the RTR, as well as a couple other events I've been to, where they'll do stylists and haircuts for either a set amount or a donation or whatever. But it's great because we all need haircuts, and you know, it's a great opportunity.
Right. I will throw a bit of caution here. I do believe that hairdressers, barbers are regulated by state. And so that's something that you want to look into, definitely, if this is something that you're thinking about doing, especially out of the state that you have a license. And the other thing is, if you practice on public land, by law, you're supposed to get a permit if you're making money. So that's not to say that if you're just gathered with a few friends that you don't help each other out. And if the BLM or the National Forest Services thinks you're running a business on public land, they'll probably find out, and just be aware that is an issue.
Good idea.
Thank you. Okay.
But you won't always be on public land either, right? You can just do little side things too, maybe in the forest or what have you.
Yes. I think making money on the road is limited only by your imagination and willingness to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Brian, this one's for you. It's from Barry West. Where is the best place to find digital nomad jobs? Is there a website?
Oh, that is definitely not my forte. I know there are websites out there. I think ZipRecruiter would probably be one of those sites. And Coolworks maybe, but that's be less digital. I would probably refer people to, there's an organization, Escapers. I'm sorry, Escapees, and a part of that is Escapers, and that's more a working group of people that are on the road full-time working. They have a lot of resources for digital nomads because a lot of those people do that sort of thing. So I recommend
Networking.
maybe check out networking. Yeah, that's a great idea. It's a good call, Linda.
Both of you mentioned California Land Management, or CLM.
Mhm.
Is their website clm.com?
CLM services, isn't
Okay.
it?
CLM-services.org, I think.
Okay. If you put into your browser California Land Management, I do
Yeah.
know that they do come up. And that's just one of the many concessionaires that are out there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So yeah, you might want to take a look at the website for the Quartzsite RV show, otherwise known as the Big Tent, and they will list their concessionaires. And you can go and look through those and go to their websites and see what they have to offer.
And bring your notebook
And bring
Yes.
your notebook.
and your smile.
Okay, Linda, this is from Alexa Travel. I travel alone. I'd like to work for just a month or less, then move on. What do you recommend telling employers?
Oh goodness. I would say go in there, ask them to hire you in a temp way. And again, I'm thinking about Walmart. I left a little bit sooner than I anticipated, but they're so in the thick of it that it seems like once you get in there, Walmart in Montana hired me as a temp, and then I was terminated. Now I'm learning in Florida, just go in, even though they know I'm leaving shortly, and they're going to keep me on in a permanent way with a leave of absence so that I can pick it up again if I want. Do you see the difference from temp to terminated? So I think, they always say, and it doesn't, you can't go wrong. Honesty is the best policy. Talk to them about it. Say, hey, I may only be here for a few weeks, 6 weeks, maybe. What do you think? I'd really like to work and see how it works out. And you'll get your answer that way.
Good idea. I just thought of there's also Craigslist. They also have like a lot of short-term jobs on Craigslist. That's something I hadn't thought about before, but and that would be more the month-long commitments maybe.
True.
I think are they called gigs? Do I remember that right on Craigslist?
I don't recall. Maybe I know there's the gig economy now, but I don't know if that's what they do on Craigslist or not. It might just be jobs.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't know.
Okay. Linda, this one is for you, and it's from Bob. What is the biggest obstacle Linda has experienced with running her online store while being a nomad?
Right at the moment after Christmas, running out of product now. And my product sits in Texas in a storage unit, which I call my fulfillment house. And so I guess that would be the biggest thing. Other than that, knowing what I need as far as product. But I don't know. I always just go back to it's fun. And I even had about 15 orders that I needed to fill last September, March, whenever it was. And I asked them, hey, I'm out of this right now, but I'll be back to my fulfillment house in 2 months. Do you want me to refund your order or mail it then? And every single person said, mail it when you get back.
Excellent. Very good.
When you build a rapport with your clients,
Very good. Very good. And that speaks well for their trust in you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian, Richard Foley, do you know of any cash paying only jobs?
That's where I would go with Craigslist, because that's more of the, doing some yard work or, those kind of positions. I would think on Craigslist to be a good option. I don't know about any other just cash only options. Linda, how about you? Any thoughts?
I don't know. This would go back to like making some fudge or cookies or something.
Yeah.
and selling to the nomads when they don't want to go to the store. I don't know, just a little basket of goodies.
The
That just, I don't know why that popped in my head. Maybe I'm thinking about cookies right now.
I'm hungry, so it could be it. I will say I just remembered back with the big RV show, big tent show, RV show, a lot of the booths, they would hire people to sell solar panels or sell chairs and things like that. And that was all cash. And so that would be another option is, you know, people going to the big tent show to look for a job for the summer, but also working during that 10-day period and getting a little extra cash.
Yeah. And what about detailing people's rigs?
Oh, yeah.
Or,
That's a good idea.
a wash where, you know, I don't know, you trust them or you go with them or whatever, and they do the thing, they do it for you. Because, you know, the older we get, we don't necessarily want to do those things ourselves.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Good idea. Yeah.
Hey, Linda, Road Warrior. I love to do sales work. What do you recommend for finding sales jobs specifically?
You know, I'm just such a big advocate of going online, asking Google for like if there's particular stores. When I was coming here to Florida, I wasn't 100% about Walmart. And I asked my friend, hey, what other stores in the area might be hiring, you know, and where I'd have a little bit more freedom of what I want to do and stuff. And she gave me some lists, some names, and then I looked them up online. So, I mean, sales jobs, I hate to say it this way, but they're kind of like a dime a dozen. I mean, there's just stores and you just find all those, you find a lot. I don't mean to be remiss of your question, but there's so much online with Google asking stores near me or sales jobs near me. And it's just amazing how it all comes up.
And Brian,
can you think of anything, Brian?
Well, when I think sales, I don't know if this is how the question was posed. It may not be what they meant, but I was thinking like an RV salesperson. You know, like in Quartzsite, they have that like one RV lot that they probably hire people to, you know, get through their inventory of RVs. Maybe some of the warmer weather areas like Phoenix, Tucson, Yuma might have RV lots that they're looking for a salesperson. Again, I don't know if that's what they're talking about. It might be more retail they were asking about.
Yeah, I go back to retail for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you always have pumpkins and Christmas trees.
That's a good point. Yeah, those
yes.
booths. So I do know some people that have done both. The pumpkin patch is usually a month long. I think the Christmas tree is more like 3 weeks long. But you make a good amount of money in a short amount of time. I've never done it personally, but I know some people that have done it for I think 4 years running, and they love it.
Thank you. Okay, Brian, and this is from RV Living. I need full hookups and some salary. Most jobs I see offer only a site in exchange for 20 to 30 hours. Any thoughts on locating a paying gig?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I do. I can't just do it for an exchange for a free site. I need the money. I need to, you know, have gas money and food. So I feel like there are plenty of companies out there. CLM is one of them. They pay as well as give you a site. There's also American Land and Leisure. There's Rocky Mountain Recreation, that's in Colorado. And then there's, do you remember the other one, Linda? There's a couple other companies, big concessionaires like RRM or.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I know, you know, as soon as you put in concessionaires, bam, you're going to get 10 right there.
Yeah, for sure. And the ones at the big tent show, if you do happen to be going there, a lot of those are going to be for paid positions. They also have some that are in the middle of the country. I think in Iowa, it's at some like
Adventure
almost like a six. Yes, that one. Yeah. So it's like a amusement park, and you can be a carny. You know, I mean, it'd be kind of fun. So that's a paid gig.
Fun.
Yeah, exactly. Fun, a new experience. But yeah, I would say there's plenty of those positions. I lean away from the ones that are just volunteer, just because I need a paycheck.
Yeah.
This is from Eileen Brown, and she says, Linda said she's already taken Social Security. How does Brian plan for his own retirement?
Well, That's a great question. In the end, I am doing a job that I could literally do until I'm in my 80s. I mean, this is a job that retirees do. And so I had a friend that I used to work for, and he basically, paraphrasing, he had a great accent and he was a great storyteller, but he basically said that like he will work until he's dead. Like, you know, it's, like to not work isn't very fun, and so just keep on working. And so that's kind of my plan, is that I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. And I am saving. I've, you know, I said I've created a budget, not a lot, but I do, you know, have a net positive return at the end of the year. So but it's a fair question, but this is something I can do in retirement.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Sue Ann, I want to clarify that I took Social Security and I'm now off Social Security. I'm no longer drawing. So, and I'm excited about that because it gives me that gumption to keep going and working and not fall back on just that, okay, I'm going to take Social Security, I'm done now. So it's a mental shift. So, and if it's a fallback, definitely, you know, if I end up with health reasons or otherwise, that I feel that security of knowing that I have Social Security, but I'm not taking it now.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification. Okay, Kevin Knoll, his question is for Linda. What is the most common way you get paid on the road? Cash, check, or direct deposit?
Direct deposit and PayPal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything on my website, it's all set up where it goes to either Stripe or PayPal. And all my jobs have always been direct deposit right out of the gate.
Okay, good. Okay, Brian, you may know this answer. Camper Fantastic asks, can you work in USA as a Canadian for the summers?
I do not know that answer. That is a great question. I would assume you'd need a work visa. But Linda, do you have any input on this one?
I don't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like Linda had said that, you know, she's worked with people from Italy and things like that. So there are people that work from foreign countries for sure. I don't know the logistics of it. I do want, yeah, a lot of the national parks jobs, that does seem like you have a lot of international people, and I can't imagine all of them like getting a large work visa that's difficult to get. So you'd have to do some online research for that one.
Well, and Ruby's, you know, is notorious for even the young, I was going to call them kids. Yeah, kids compared to me, and having those work experiences. Like I worked with people from Romania and different places too. So, and I wasn't in the national park. Ruby's is outside of the national park. Yeah, and a side note too, national parks, it's a little more tricky to work camp with a car or a SUV. They more want to the class A, B, C, whatever, you know, I guess for the look. It's my, that's a side bunny trail, but again, Ruby's, lots of international outside of the national park, but like right next door to it.
So you're still in those beautiful areas. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to end up with one last question. And I think it's good for both of you to answer this one. How do you get W-2s when you're on the road? Brian?
So I have a mail forwarding service that's down in Texas. It's done through the Escapees. And so that's where, you know, I put all my addresses and stuff. So W-2s always get sent there. And then usually February 1st, I'll have my mail forwarded to me that should have all my W-2s. Anymore, a lot of that stuff is online too. So all my bank information, they just send it directly to my, you know, like the account. So you can access a lot of that online. CLM, you can't access that online, but when I've worked for Cirque du Soleil, that was all done online. So it was very, very paperless. So it's not very difficult to do.
Linda, do you have a different experience?
Yeah, both. I mean, I'm internet with Walmart, and then I shout out for TexasHomeBase.com. That's my mail forwarding, and I'll get my W-2s there. And I also called up CLM last year. I was sweating it to get my taxes done, and they emailed me my W-2. So that was pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, I want to thank you both. That was really a wonderful presentation and a set of answers. You guys really worked well together. I do want to remind everybody about Linda's YouTube channel and website, Serene and Simple Life. Again, go down below in the description and check it out. And also we'll have links to Linda's many businesses, t-shirt store, cards with sayings store. Be sure to go and visit them and support just her wonderful volunteer work here with Homes on Wheels Alliance.